Hello and welcome to Yorkshire Voice on Monday the 30th of March. I'm Kaylee Beardsley.
And I'm Joshua Vickers. Here are today's top stories.
Murder investigations. A 16-year-old girl dies after being found with serious injuries in a Leeds suburb.
An LGBT charity steps in to resurrect a Wakefield Pride Festival after the council cancelled the event. And
walking on sunshine, whoa, and don't you feel good?
The West Yorkshire Choir making a difference in the lives of people with neurological conditions. But first, a murder investigation has been launched after a 16-year-old girl died with serious injuries in Leeds this weekend.
4 people, 2 women aged 18, a man aged 19 and a boy aged 17 have been arrested on suspicion of murder and remain in custody. Joe Pinner reports.
The girl, who's been named as Chloe Watson from the Cleckheaton area, was found here in Kennelly Avenue on the outskirts of Leeds at just before 6 on Saturday morning. She'd sustained serious injuries and was taken to hospital, but died soon after. West Yorkshire Police say inquiries are ongoing, and they urge anyone who is in the area of the early hours of Saturday morning to get in touch. A cousin of Chloe, Chantel Watson, has created a GoFundMe page to raise money for the funeral.
Now, the continuing war in Iran is putting a squeeze on the cost of living for people across our region.
Here in Leeds, a charity that supports those feeling the pinch says the number of people using its community pantry has doubled in the past 2 months as concerns grow over the effects of the conflict. Azalea Nisco has more.
Yes, I'm here at Kirkstall Valley Development Trust. I'm here with a volunteer staff worker and a service user. So what do we do here at KVDT?
Well, we bring a lot of joy and we have a lot of service users coming to use our community pantry. The community pantry opens from 10 till 2 every Wednesday. It is citywide. It's £6 and you come in and you get your week's grocery. Helps everybody out. We support their individual needs. We also offer a meal and they can come and have a chat and a cup of tea, and that's what we provide to support our local community. The information can be found on KVDT website.
And for yourself as a service user, how does this benefit you and your family?
Yes, I come to use the facilities, have a cup of tea and have a chat with some of the lovely, friendly staff that we have here. And I use the pantry maybe once a week, sometimes once a fortnight. It does help out because I'm a pensioner myself, and I sometimes pass some of the groceries on to my young family, my daughters and grandchildren, so it does help that way. And I'm helping the community out by using these facilities as well. I want to keep it going.
And for the service users and staff, have you seen a big increase with the cost of living?
In the time that I've been here, when I first started volunteering 2 years ago, we had maybe 10, 15 people come in. In the last 12 months, it has increased. But in the last 2 months, I would say we're getting 30 to 35 people coming every Wednesday. And we do get feedback of the fear of the war that's coming along. They're worrying about supplies. Will they be able to get electricity, gas, support, food? So there is a bit of panic going on with the war going on, but we do support everybody individually with what their needs are.
If you want to get involved as a volunteer or you're in need of assistance or support, please visit the KVDT website.
Last year, Wakefield saw the cancellation of its annual Pride event as the council said major funding had been pulled.
Despite the disappointment felt by the community, a local charity is still marching on with their own event. Olivia Davis reports.
Recently, Wakefield Council reflected on last year's Pride Festival failure as they lost significant funding and had to postpone the event until 2026. After the criticism of the event's cancellation, Longboat, an LGBT charity based in Wakefield, called for more of a focus on community pride and why it is so important to keep afloat.
It was disappointing, but it has come that when that didn't go ahead, we had to switch plans pretty quickly. We had a lot of people coming to us and asking us if we could take things on, if we could do, and we did in, I think it was about 6 or 7 weeks. We don't have some of those large donors or sponsors. We rely on smaller donations, on our sponsors and things like that. And with that, I think in a way we're sort of like a continuous and have a smaller growth. And I think that's something with the larger Pride is that it grew quite a lot quickly. But then it's making sure that the foundations are there to make sure it's supported and continues. So really, it'd be nice to see the LGBT community also support their prides, whether that's financially or giving up time or something like that. All of that is appreciated. And I think that's something, again, another factor where it's like expected that a pride will just happen, is probably why we've seen, you know, some large scale prides, but also some small scale prides that have just gone down the wayside that you probably haven't heard of or seen. But actually, to that small community would have been really important.
Longboat claimed that they had no connection with Wakefield Pride and that there were a lot of bridges that needed mending. But for now, they're creating their own space for the community to celebrate. Olivia Davis, Yorkshire Voice.
And we've contacted Wakefield District Council for a comment, but we're yet to hear back from them. Now, climbers in Leeds got together this weekend at City Block for the live finals of their Winter League competition.
Our reporter Anne-Marie Lombard spoke to competitors at Leeds' original bouldering wall.
So I've been in the finals event for the Winter Boulder Series that happens every year here at City Block, and 3 solid boulders, 4 minutes on, bit of a kind of a World Cup format, but a bit more relaxed.
So there's the men's and women's, and there's also for the LGBTQ people, the open division, and they also provide stuff for the paraclimbers as well. I've just been in the open division and I think I've won, which is nice. I, at the moment, climb about 4 times a week. I climb on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday for about 3 hours each day.
I trek down here quite a lot, about once, twice a week to train here. I like the climbing scene in Leeds. It's a lot closer than anywhere else I've climbed, really.
You're always competing, but it's mostly you're competing against yourself more than anything. You don't act, it's not like other team sports where you have to rely on another person to do well, or you have to be actively running against someone. I think that's really what makes me want to keep going, because it's like, I want to get this far in climbing. You can set your own goals. If you just want to come here for fun, that's fine. If you want to do X grade, then you can, and you can just keep pushing yourself to as far as you want to push yourself.
I've always struggled with mental health. I haven't had the best upbringing, and back when I used to climb just on Saturdays at Rock Antics and Middle in Newton Aycliffe, it was a good escape for me, and then that escape became a hobby and a passion, and now I live for the sport. I love competing, and it really pushes me onto who I am.
Now it's time for some news in brief with Honor Doyle. Honor?
Thank you. Unison branches from Leeds, Sheffield, Wakefield and Rotherham joined tens of thousands of people in central London on Saturday for an anti-far-right march. Organisers claimed 500,000 people travelled to the capital for the Together Alliance demonstration, while police estimate a turnout to be closer to 50,000. Leeds Bradford Airport has applied for prosecution immunity when it flies certain aircraft overnight. The airport is limited to under 3,000 takeoffs and landings between 11 at night at 7 in the morning. Campaigners claim the limit has been breached 4 years in a row, with more than 500 additional flights each summer. The airport says the restrictions are outdated. Over 7,000 people participated in Sheffield's half marathon as part of the Jane Tomlinson's Run for All on Sunday, a tribute to the legacy of Jane Tomlinson, CBE, a former amateur athlete and fundraiser. Last year's event raised over £175,000. And staying with sports, hundreds gathered on Friday for the city's most anticipated student sporting event, Fight Night Leeds. A sold-out amateur boxing showcase saw fighters from 3 universities in Leeds step into the ring just after 8 weeks of training. Leeds Rhinos inflicted Warrington's first defeat of the season yesterday. Micah Sevo scored a hat-trick as the Rhinos ran out 26-22 winners. The Wolves were 12-8 up at half-time before Leeds staged a second half comeback. Leeds sit third in the table after the result. And that's the news wrap for today. Back to Joshua and Kaylee.
Thanks, Honor. Now a community healthcare charity in Leeds is making a difference through music.
Giving Voice is an inclusive choir where adults with neurological conditions and their carers meet to sing and socialise. Malcolm Ring reports.
What began as a pilot scheme under Leeds Community Healthcare NHS Trust has become a calendar fixture for these Leeds residents. Giving Voice is an inclusive choir for adults with neurological conditions and their carers that runs every Wednesday evening.
It's bringing people together, it's doing something collectively as a group but something that's also like really good for like health and well-being. You know, like the evidence for singing is fantastic for neurological conditions. You know, it's brilliant for posture, your breathing, your memory, your intonation.
Walking on sunshine. Whoa. I'm so busy flying my arms around, I forget where I'm at. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa.
Well, health-wise, it strengthens the voice when you've got a neurological problem. We are mainly neurological people with mainly Parkinson's disease, but I've got MS and my voice is not as strong as it was, you know.
Every song is selected by members first, with a focus on songs from the decades.
Some of the songs are things like Don't You Want Me Baby, Losing My Religion, Friday Night I'm in Love. You know, they're sort of like some of our recent new ones, and that's it's all good. A bit for everybody.
I must admit, I like the slower ones. As I get older, I'm not very good on the high parts, so something in the lower register for me. It's an evening out for me, an evening among friends.
Giving Voice are now planning for a summer concert, but say they are always open to new members with no audition required. Malcolm Ring, Yorkshire Voice.
I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, and don't it feel good?
And finally tonight, in the run-up to Easter, a touch of fun in Knaresborough, where an unusual event has been drawing crowds.
Amy Monkman explains.
Today isn't your typical day in Knaresborough. This historic town has turned into a playground as the first day of the Great Knaresborough Bunny Hunt gets underway.
So the Great Knaresborough Bunny Hunt is something that I started 9 years ago. It's an event that raises money for charity. It gives families a cheap activity to do for the day, and it raises footfall in Knaresborough for our local independent businesses. I come bearing the gift of a bunny. So it's a lot of hard work, and the hard work has kind of been done now. So this is the fun bit. And I think what I love seeing is families coming together. They're outside in the fresh air, they're exploring Knaresborough, they're finding businesses that maybe they haven't found before. They're getting joy out of discovering what those bunnies might be, and then being able to hand over the money to the charities is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's cute. We've only just started it, but we're getting plenty of steps in. Working our way around the town, and you're just looking forward to the prize at the end, I think, aren't you?
Running throughout the Easter holidays, there's still plenty of time to take part. Organisers hope that this will be the biggest year yet. Amy Monkman, Yorkshire Voice.
Excellent pun there, Joshua, and I for one will be hopping over for that.
Well, I'm not going to add to that, so... Well, now it's time to find out what the weather's doing, and we can join Jordan Lunn, who's braved the heights of Rawdon Billing.
Yes, it's very cold and very windy up here. It's been raining on and off for the last few hours, and conditions aren't really improving. However, we have seen some planes struggling to land at Leeds Bradford Airport. We've seen one do a go around. It did manage to land, and there's a few planes taking off. But yeah, conditions are not good right now. They are expected to improve overnight with clear skies and less cloud, with highs of 7 degrees, a little bit colder towards the coast. And then tomorrow it's also supposed to be better weather, sunny and a bit of cloud, about 15 degrees. It could be a bit warmer going up north. But yeah, about 15 degrees. I'm sure Leeds Bradford Airport will be hoping for better weather too. That's all. Back to Stu.
I'd like to apologise that we're sat in this really warm, lovely room whilst you're out there freezing in those Baltic conditions. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us, and if you want to keep up with all the news, make sure you tune in tomorrow at 4 o'clock live.
You can also follow us on all our social media, and if you've got a story you think we'd be interested in, please get in touch. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.